often put it this way. In order for us to be in the state that we're in today as people, we have to be out of our minds. We literally have to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be backwards. It is necessary for us to be maladjusted. It is necessary for us to be disunited. It is necessary for us to be self-hating. It is necessary for us to be filled with an inferiority complex. In a world where the European is essentially about 10% of the world's population, if that 10% is to continue to rule over the other 90%, it must keep that 90% out of its mind. It must keep that 90% in a state of deception. It must keep...
Thank you for tuning in. Once again, it is Brian HRap B. Williams. This is the End of the Bench Media. This is called A Few Minutes with HRap. Thank you for tapping in. Hit that like, hit that share, tell a friend and tell a friend to tap in. It is important that you do so. Keep me in that algorithm. Do me a favor. Help me out. Help your man out. We're going to get things accomplished. Now, as I do every day, I thank my parents. Dolores and John. Without Dolores and John, there will be no me. Without me, you'll be doing something else with your valuable time. So allow us to uplift together. Thank you for tapping in. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe. And if you're not watching this at 5 p.m., you are watching this on the recording, go to www.theendofthebench.com. Watch it there. You'll be doing me and the people at the End of the Bench Media a favor because you get traffic at my website. You'll be able to see the history video in its entirety. Today, I got it from a source that I traditionally don't go to, but it's equally valuable. What I want you to do is watch that video in its entirety, and then we can have a discussion and we'll move forward and get everything accomplished. Now, today, we're trapped in the Matrix. A lot of people think the Matrix was just a movie, but it wasn't a movie. It was a reality check, and it seemed as if it was just something that was make-believe. Whether it's the actual Matrix or the ability to control people with distractions and other things so you can control their mind, control what they do, know where they are, know what they think, and do everything that you need them to do. And that's what we are right now. You know, people like myself will call revolutionaries. That means we're revolting against what seems to be natural. And if you think what's going on right now is natural, I would have to question your sanity. I'm not trying to be denigrating. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that's what I am, questioning your sanity. And I want you to question your sanity at all times. Because if you think what you're doing is normal and you're not doing what's natural, like I said a couple of days ago, then maybe, just maybe, you're caught in the Matrix. And see, again, people see action and bullets and the technology. But what I want us to do is understand the Matrix is when the machines took over the world. The machines took over the world and had mind control and had people deceived and thinking they were doing something that they were not. Now, a lot of us will sit around and say, hey, well, ain't no machine controlling me. But is that the case? Isn't that the case? The machines are in control. But the problem is this, or the question is this: who's in charge of the machines? That's something that you never saw in the Matrix. You never got to the end. You never. So, see, because, okay, you can have somebody, the machines can control our minds with distractions, with media, social media, music, videos, and things like memes and things of that nature. They can control it, but it's somebody who's programming the machine. AI will never get to the point where it'll be able to repair itself, because a machine, that's the one thing it does not have the capacity to do, is to repair itself. A machine cannot get a man to do something for it. A machine, oh, you're going to build a computer that's, you know, basically you talk about androids then, and then we living in the transformer world. But that's not what I'm speaking of. I'm speaking of the people who are distracting us at all times. I'm thinking about people who, how is it that if LeBron James and Stephen A get into a fight at 4:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, Eastern Standard Time, or Mountain Time, whatever time you want to pick, at 4 p.m. your time, they get into an argument. Well, it will be 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, and 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Not a problem. Now, they get into, but at 15 after the hour, there's a meme created. Don't some of those things just strike you? I mean, the internet never misses, never gives up, because what we do is tell these machines and tell these people how to treat us. Marketing is the number one tool in the world, because guess what? Attention is currency. So marketing is king. Why is marketing king? People assume that marketing is trying to get you to buy something. No, I'm gonna put this in front of you. I'll put these brand new Air Jordans in front of you, and you're gonna buy them because we marketed it that way. No, marketing is making you feel as if you need those shoes. See, anybody can sell, but can you market? Another way to market is, we'll give you 30% off your next meal if you fill out this survey. What you've done in essence is tell them how to market you. And when you tell someone how to take your money, as a former president, Lyndon Baines Johnson, if you can trick somebody into something, he didn't say these words, but I'm paraphrasing. If you can trick somebody into believing something, you will be able to rob them without a gun. And that's what we've, in essence, taught people how to do. We've taught people how to rob us without a gun. We click on fights on the internet. This person might be attracted to violent acts. We click on the Family Guy. This guy might like to laugh. We click on church. This guy may like, he might be closer to spirituality. So those things come in your face on a regular basis. Go to Adidas.com, go to Nike.com, go to DolceandGabbana.com, and we will make you feel as if you need these things. We will get celebrities to drive around in vehicles that you shouldn't be able to afford, because they're making $20 million a year, but they make you want that. You want $15,000 chains around your wrist because you're showing that you're a boss. But the people that you allow to mistreat you, the Elon Musk, the Bill Gates, the Donald J. Trump, you ever seen them with jewelry on? You never see those guys with jewelry, because they are the ultimate bosses according to the media and the BS that's being fed to us on a regular basis. Think about it. You are in the matrix. What was the matrix? It was all pretend. What do they say about our food? Our food is no longer good. That's why, maybe, I'm not a doctor, nor am I a scientist, but maybe that's why some of our children are on the spectrum. That's why you have so many birth defects. That's why because we're not getting nutritious foods, because we walked away from the concept of putting things in the ground, cultivating them, and allowing them to grow, and then we can blanch, which is treating the foods so you can freeze them and use them at a later date, or preserve them using preserves and things of that nature. We gotten away from those old things because that's Southern, and we're in the city, and I have too much time, but you don't have enough time, because this is your life. You ever thought about this? Why is it that everything is moving so fast? Or is it moving fast? There's still 24 hours. According to the Gregorian calendar, there's still 12 months in a year, which, pause, let me put a comment on that. Still 12 months in a year. How many weeks in a month? 4. How many months in a year? 12. How many weeks in a year? 52. So that means it's 4 extra. Just I want you to think. I want you to think. It's 12 months in a year. 12 times 4 is 48. But it's 52 months in a year. Now we on cycles. I'm doing this to pull you out of the matrix, just like in the thumbnail. You see Morpheus with the red and blue pill. I want us to start thinking again. And I want us to start thinking in accordance to nature. Nature will never mislead you. Nature, you ever seen a fat lion? You ever seen a fat cheetah? You ever seen a fat any animal in the wild? Oh, an elephant is fat. No, an elephant is humongous. He's not fat. He is natural. You don't see overweight cows. You don't see overweight bulls. You don't see overweight birds unless you have human interaction and they have slipped into the quote unquote matrix. And I want us to understand these things. We have been poisoned. We have been deceived. We have been lied to. And we believe too much is enough. It's not. Nature does not make too many berries, too many grapes, too many watermelons, too many birds, too many snakes, too many mosquitoes, because nature has a balance. That's why things in nature and living in their natural habitat, they don't get fat. We get fat as human beings because I need a double cheeseburger because that last hamburger was delicious. But if you just eat the cheeseburger, you will find yourself full. You should eat to survive, not surviving to eat. You don't eat to live, you live. You don't live to eat, you eat to live. And that's where the matrix starts at. We have so many massive distractions in regards to the matrix. Like I said, back to that comma. Bam. The food is fake. Now let's listen to the music. Remember, at one point in our lives, music was the heartbeat of our community. Drums, do 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 do. We communicate via drums. Stevie Wonder, Fat Domino, the big band with Count Basie and Lionel Hampton. That music sunk into your soul and uplifted you. Music is supposed to be a vehicle to stir up the soul, and you can basically vibrate higher, which gets you closer to the creator. In my personal opinion, again, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a theologian, I'm not a mystic, but I'm just saying, when you hear a very good song, you get that energy. But the matrix has dumbed us down. We have 10 million distractions. We had the Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James argument going on. We got the Just Hilarious and the Breakfast Club argument going on. Which one of those things is going to help you? Neither one, because we have two millionaires discussing millionaire problems. Then you got the Major League Baseball starting tonight. Love baseball, don't get me wrong. I'm a baseball enthusiast because I'm not a fan. I'm a fan of God. Shout out to Doc Holliday. I'm a fan of God, but you got the NBA playoffs about to start. March Madness is here. You have within the next couple of weeks, you got football. So you're gonna be not wildly distracted if you are in that realm. And then you got new TV shows, Power, things of that nature. You ever notice that these things are constantly distracting us? And this is the matrix. We're plugged into the machine. We're plugged into this machine, and this machine, we power this machine. But guess what? You ever notice a whole lot of things about learning and enhancing your mind never comes across your timeline? And what will make you a better human being? That hardly ever comes. Those people are on the internet. Don't get me wrong. Those people are on the internet. History is on the internet. True history. That critical race theory history, that black stuff. That woke history. It's on the internet. It's hundreds of thousands of people on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Spill, all these places, fan base, all these places with that information being fed to you. Without a doubt, they're there. But those things, as much as you enjoy them, they don't come through your timeline a lot, do they? But you'll see crime. You'll see power with a lot of murder, sex, and mayhem, low vibrating things, because we need you distracted while the matrix is happening. While the current president, Donald J. Trump, is attempting to violate the entire Constitution. Why? But I'm not really into politics. While Elon Musk is raping you and taking your tax dollars and telling you he's in charge of Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency. Why? Well, I thought there were already apparatuses in place. Why y'all getting rid of all the things that will hold your feet to the fire? Getting rid of IRS agents because you don't pay your taxes. You're getting rid of the people from the Department of Justice because they will prosecute you for violating said Constitution. You're getting rid of people in the medical field because we can reduce the population and keep the population stupid. We get reducing the Department of Education because the dumber and more uninformed that we have you, the better off we are, because it's the bait and switch. Hey, look, we're helping. We saved $8 billion. Oh, the truth came out, 8 million. $8 million in $1 trillion deficit means nothing. That is literally like you get paid today. You don't have any bills until the 15th. So that paycheck is yours. And somebody say, hey man, can you get some change? And you give them $3. That's what that $8 billion to $1 trillion is. You give them, here go $5. This is the matrix at work. It puts you in a lethargic state of mind that you will do nothing but continue to engage. You got black people supporting white nationalism because, see, Trump is shaking up the BS. No, actually, he's not. He's not. What you have never done is engaged in the BS. Because if you actually engaged in said BS, you realize for the people, of the people. What is the state representative's job? Ask yourself that, because you're in the matrix, because you don't know. And some people don't know, but by and large, most people don't know. What's the state representative's job? What's the state senator's job? What's your mayor's job? If the mayor controls the city, why do we have city managers? If the mayors control the city, why do we have city council? If the mayor and the city council are in charge of the city, why do we have school councils? Department of Education council, school council, so they can determine the curriculum in the school, but the mayor's in control of that. Why are all these offices in place if you are not there to utilize them? If you're not utilizing them, how are you making complaints that things are not in play? Which one of us has never had a relative that was sick? Exactly. Most people who are watching this are not millionaires. So how many of y'all have ever been behind in anything? Like gas? Oh, man, I told you I was going to give you this son, daughter, girlfriend, wife, cousin, uncle, brother, but I just don't have it. If you've done that, if you've participated in that type of entity, if you're dealing with that type of time, let me know. Exactly. Most of us have. So why is it that when you go buy a snack, you pay taxes? When you go buy dinner, you pay taxes. When you buy groceries, you pay taxes. When you pay your bills, you pay taxes. But you don't know what those tax dollars are doing. But you don't have time for it. That, ladies and gentlemen, haters and bitter friends, is the matrix. Keeping you ignorant as possible, keeping you uninformed as possible is dehumanizing you. And that sounds a little harsh or hyperbolic, but it is, because if I make you lower than what you are, you'll never bloom into what you could be. This is why things like critical race theory are the enemy of people who are at the top. Because if I get you informed, then you're going to stop being my slave. For example, why would you not want to teach someone their history? Because if I find myself tinkering with things, and I find out my grandfather was a handyman, a mechanic, a plumber, an electrician, and things of that nature, maybe that will inspire me to be, and then I will be that, and I will hire people, and I will hire people, and I empower people, and I empower people, and we can create our own situations. But no, I want you to always be metaphorically on the other nipple, breast, tit, whichever one we want to use, of the system. Always getting what you need from me, not getting what you need. That's why I show you the history every day, because the history will let you know you are not the descendants of slavery. 1619 is not when you arrived here. You are not a slave. You are a human being who was enslaved. You are a human being who was trafficked. Since we're going to use all the buzzwords to fire people up. You were humanly trafficked. And then you overcame it and you fought it. And then you bounced back. That picture on the screen is a brother by the name of John Horse. Super dope brother. He's one of your ancestors. He's an elder from your community. And when I say ancestors and elder, that does not mean he has to be directly connected to you, but he's a part of your community. I'm going to show you how awesome he was, and then I'll be back shortly. But remember, I'm only going to show you a portion. And then you go to www.theenderthebench.com. You go to www.theenderthebench.com. Watch the video in its entirety, and then I get help. That person who created the video gets help, and you be empowered. I will be back shortly. This is HRap, the End of the Bench Media. I will be with you in a second.
Seminole heritage. He played an essential role in shaping the survival of the Seminole people and African Americans alike. His life, filled with bravery, diplomacy, and John Horse, a pivotal figure in American history, is often overlooked in mainstream narratives. Born of African and Seminole heritage, he played an essential role in shaping the survival of the Seminole people and African Americans alike. His life, filled with bravery, diplomacy, and leadership, paints a compelling portrait of resistance, survival, and perseverance against systemic oppression. The complex and multifaceted legacy of John Horse offers a unique window into the intertwined histories of Native Americans and African Americans during the 19th century. John Horse, also known as Juan Caballo, was born around 1812 in Florida. His birth was significant in that it occurred during a period when the Seminole Nation had become a refuge for both free blacks and runaway slaves. The blending of African and Native American cultures created a distinctive society in the Seminole Nation, one characterized by cooperation and mutual protection against white settlers. John Horse, through his upbringing in this unique cultural context, grew up with an acute awareness of the dangers posed by slavery and colonial expansion. This awareness shaped his role as a freedom fighter and leader. The early 19th century was a period of turmoil and instability for both African Americans and Native Americans. The Seminole Nation, which had become a sanctuary for runaway slaves, faced increasing pressure from American settlers who sought to expand into Florida. These settlers viewed the alliance between the Seminoles and African Americans as a threat to the institution of slavery, particularly as the Seminoles' practice of harboring runaway slaves was seen as an act of rebellion against white supremacy. The escalating tensions between the Seminole Nation and the United States government culminated in the Seminole Wars, a series of conflicts that would define John Horse's life. John Horse emerged as a leader during the Second Seminole War, which began in 1835. At the time, the U.S. government sought to remove the Seminoles from Florida and relocate them to Indian Territory, modern-day Oklahoma. The Seminoles, along with their African American allies, resisted this forced removal, sparking a bloody conflict that would last for nearly a decade. John Horse's unique position as both a Seminole warrior and a free black man allowed him to serve as a bridge between the two groups, uniting them.
Now, as you saw, you're talking about this dude was a freedom fighter in the early 1800s. They don't teach you this. This empowers you. Hold on, wait a minute. Our community was enslaved in the early 1800s. This is how deep you're in the matrix. We were enslaved at that period. No, not all of us, because Florida was not a part of the United States at that time. They hadn't bought that from Spain yet. You have Andrew Jackson. He was a general at that time. He colonized the north end of it, and then he further colonized it, and he ran into a brick wall called the Seminole Nation, and fused with more than 830 runaway humans of African descent from these death camps called plantations. And they merged with the natives that were down there, and they created the Seminole Nation. See, when you know that, then you understand. Well, wait a minute. When we were allowed to fight in the Revolutionary War, how did those brothers know how to fight? Because they had already been fighting the very same people. See, then you understand what the war was really fought about. Why y'all keep spending all this money, $50 million, which is equivalent to $500 million in today's finances, to fight these people? We could just get them to do what we want them to do. Now we could just put them in the matrix. We could just put them in the matrix and make them think they're free, and then they'll continue to use our resources. Why is it that we're only free and fighting for equality and fusion? No, I come on. You know, like our Jewish brothers and sisters, I got my own. Our Asian brothers and sisters, I got my own. Our Latino brothers and sisters, I got my own. I'll come over the roof, Chris, occasionally, but I got my own. See, that's where we've missed the boat, because we are in the matrix. Because they told us money was the key to end all your woes, your ups, your downs, your highs, and your lows. What you tell me last time, love bought your clothes. It's like that, and that's the way it is. Run DMC, 1983. Now this seems kind of silly, but that's what that's what we've been fooled and bamboozled into. We've been bamboozled into that because we assume that's what it is. Now, don't get me wrong. We got to get paid so money connects. But at some point, I'd rather be broke and have a whole lot of respect, because respect is actually currency. Because when you have the respect of your peers and your community, they will step up and work with you. And then you won't need the money that people say that you need. But we do need money to pay bills, to purchase goods, or you can create what is called a barter system and do things of that nature. But we've slipped into, again, the matrix, because the matrix makes you believe whatever your oppressor or the machines or the people who run the machines say is cool, you have to accept as cool. That's why sex, money, and mayhem rules today. If you don't think you're in the matrix, let's just go with my lifetime. I am a couch potato. I've always been one. I will probably die one. I enjoy a good story, whether it be in a book. Because see, I could sit at the house and read a book and understand what's going on in Sierra Leone. I can understand what's going on in Cuba. I can understand what's going on in Russia. I can understand what's going on in China, so forth and so on, all over the world. I can travel the world and don't leave my couch. I can also watch a television show, a documentary, understanding that every documentary in the history of the world is jaded in accordance to that person's opinion, the way they see things. It doesn't have to be the dictionary definition of accurate, but it will give me an idea. And then I can go do the research and enhance myself, further pulling myself out of the matrix. Because if you're just mundane and follow the traditional steps, you live in the matrix. The matrix is almost like a river that does the 8, an infinity river. It's just gonna keep going and going and going, unless you go, hey, didn't I just see that tree 8 times? And then you step out of what is perceived as the matrix. But what I want you to understand is, again, back to, I'm a footnote. I put a comment that we remove the comma. Let's continue the sentence. 1970s, you got things like Sanford and Son, All in the Family, The Jefferson, That's My Mama, The Brady Bunch, The Partridge Family, and things of that nature. And all these shows are permeating through the television. One thing that they had in common was they all had a moral compass. Sanford and Son, it was a father and a son. They made fun of things, but it was always a moral compass. See, they tricked you into believing, oh man, we combated this gay stuff. But on Bewitched, there was a gay witch. Samantha's uncle was gay. Paul Rule, I can't think of his last name, but his first name is Paul. He was gay. It was implied. They didn't say it. Barney Miller, it was always a moral fiber. They did exactly what they do. I'm a criminal justice major. They teach you in criminal justice, selective enforcement of the law. You could be speeding, but I'm just gonna let you go with it. Look, go on. Don't relax. Or I caught you shoplifting. The fear that I injected into you by the possibility of being incarcerated is it's more effective than you actually going to the penitentiary. I just want to scare you. Or Good Times, where Florida would never allow James to do anything nefarious. Me and my son laugh about it. She held him back, but that was the moral compass. They created these fictitious lanes. Hate the immigrants, hate the blacks. White people are no good. LGBTQ, they'll just, what's going on with them? But guess what? If most people are faith-based, and if you look at any spiritual text, the homosexual community or LGBTQIE community was going on back then. So how are we going to get rid of it? And why is it weird now? Because you're trapped in the matrix. Because we're not going to talk to you about how to improve humanity. We're going to get rid of what we perceive as the problem. But yeah, I don't remember a group, masses of groups from the LGBTQIE robbing banks, doing drive-by shootings and things. No, I don't know about that. It's the LGBTQIE mob, and they gonna control the world. No, I haven't seen that yet. And guess what? The LGBTQIE, the Black community, the Latino community, all sorts of European communities, and Latino, Asian communities. Guess what we all have in common? We all part of one community, the community of humanity, where we are different tribes. And before you were LGBTQIE, you were a human, but they got you distracted. Just like when you ever notice the people in the 70s who were making the best music, somehow, some way, they got caught up in taxes, they caught up in drugs and things of that nature. Don't believe that's not part of the matrix. Because once you start speaking up for what's wrong and right, we need to eliminate you. We need to defame you. We need to string you out on this. And we need to incarcerate you. We need to put you in a tumultuous situation so you can be incarcerated. Something will happen to you. That's why we went from hearing things like, all I do is think about you, Stevie Wonder, to you remind me of my Jeep, I want to ride. No disrespect to anybody who's enjoying the modern music, but I'm just saying, music beats, we went from a drum set, a guitar, a horn, to sounds. See, because percussion and drums touch your spirit, uplift you. You vibrate higher. When you vibrate higher, your mind opens. When your mind opens, you get closer to God. You get closer to God. You get closer to nature. You get closer to nature. You are standing with God at that point. If you don't believe in God, I understand. You do understand what I'm saying. So we got here some way. You can be agnostic if you like, but understand we got here some way. And it opens your mind up to a high vibration, and that higher vibration is a better being, and a better being will not allow you to stay in said matrix. How do you get out of it? Let's get to that, because we don't have all day. I don't have all. You don't have all day. I'm Byron. You don't have all day. I don't have all day, and I'm gonna be on soon. So let's talk about how do you get out of the matrix. What we do is start investing in things that will enrich us. Putting your hands in the dirt, catching rainwater, and growing your plants. Because see, when you're cultivating, whether it be plants, a meal, a child, a relationship, it takes time and investment. You don't have time to invest. And then guess what? You want the best for her. She wants the best for you. And you want the best for your family, whether it be a blended family or organic family. Because now you're pouring into, and you're not being poured into. I manifest things. Somebody very close to me and her manifested a job for her, better place of her place. I was focused on every day. I was praying and pushing negative energy towards her because I don't want her to be struggling. I don't want the stress on her, right? I got friends, and I'm sure he won't mind. He watching right now. I see him in the chat room. Me and him, we've manifested together because we don't want that stress on him and his wife, right? So when you pouring into each other and cultivating, you don't have time to miss that beat, so to speak, metaphorically miss that beat. Because that beat is the drum beat of your heart, the drum beat of the community, the drum beat of existence. And you just don't want that to happen. You can't afford that to happen because you are existing in that world. That is your moment. Because this is your time to help people. But we don't do that anymore because I don't trust him. So that's the first way you get out of it. What is the matrix attack first? The children. See, because we got 50, 60 years into this. We might get another 65, 25, 30 years. Okay, we 80 years. But our children, they got our downloaded information pouring into their 80 years. Now you got 160 years. And then their children, you got 240 years. Now we're all the way into this future. And we have to set standards for our children. Look, hey man, pornography, adult entertainment, rated R movies, that's a lot of fun for a lot of people. But we don't have to immerse ourselves into those things. We have to set slots, just like a lot of people have set time to support me. We have to start setting time to understand what's going on at C-SPAN, CNN, what's going on in the United States federal government. We need to tap in outside of the World Health Association so we'll know what's coming. That's why a lot of people knew that COVID was coming way before the United States of America said anything, because we knew about the Wuhan flu in China, then it moved to Europe, and then all of a sudden it was over here, and it was, But if you paid attention to the world and not just Chicago, New York, LA, Dallas, Miami, Ohio, Cleveland, Milwaukee, just start paying attention to the Midwest, and then you start paying attention to the East Coast, then you start paying to the West Coast, and then you start paying attention to Mexico and Canada, and then you start paying attention to the world, and then you'll understand the world is bigger than yours. Now, the reason you do that is so you can download things into your children. Let's start with the downloading of things into our children. Have you ever considered becoming a vegan when you're pregnant? Because then you download nothing but nutritious things and listen to positive music while this young person is developing inside of you. The vibrations are high. The music is a high vibrating. The television series is a high vibrating. The food is nutritious and high vibrating. And then this child comes out almost walking. And then we continue that feat. So yeah, occasionally we're gonna throw a little Snicker in there. We're gonna eat a little ice cream, we're gonna listen to a little Richard Pryor, we're gonna listen to some NWA or whatever the raunchy music of the day is. We're gonna watch a little rated R TV. That's crazy. But by and large, we're gonna infuse positivity into our community, because then you start seeing things like when George Jefferson spent the whole series trying to get in contact with Mr. Whitendale. One time he got in contact with him, he asked him to compromise himself, and George just skipped the money because his mother Jefferson downloaded quality into him. And then you saw James and Florida always make it, even though they struggled, but they had a quality. They had happiness in their house with their 3 children thriving, with the love from each other thriving. See, we don't have to buy into this foolishness that the Matrix feed us, that Black women have attitudes and Black men are shiftless. Yeah, Black women got attitudes. You killed their brothers, you killed their mothers, you killed their fathers, you killed their brothers, you sold off their sons, you killed their fathers for centuries and for decades. So why wouldn't they be angry? Yeah, Black men, we angry because you've raped my mother and my sister, and you took my wife from me. So of course I'm angry. But that woman is gonna help me heal, and my children are gonna help me grow. See, the children are gonna bring that love out of you. That woman is gonna bring that protection and the love and pouring love into you and make you flourish. But if we continue to buy into gold chains and fancy labels on shirts and pants and bags and cars, then we never actually get the human interaction that we need to destroy the matrix. That's what we have to do. You have to listen to things with intent. You have to listen to Mumu Fresh, Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, D'Angelo, Music Soul Child, because they're gonna be playing instruments, and those instruments gonna touch into you, and then it's gonna uplift you, and the words will permeate into your mind and enhance you. And then you go back and you continue to listen to the older stuff, and then you only direct your energy and essence to those things. You're gonna eat better, and then you're gonna read better, and then you're gonna watch better, and then you'll be better. Or you can just be a slave in a few years and let Goofy Dan from Damn Foolistan continue to run the world, and you'll be stuck in the matrix. Those are your options. Those are your options. So with that being said, it's the weekend. Enjoy it. It'll be Monday in 15 minutes. It will be Monday before it's Monday. Damn it, it's Monday. Or we can start enjoying every moment we here, thanking God for every moment we got. Being appreciative of that. You watching HRap, you're probably not even in the city here. You know, some of y'all aren't even in the country I'm in. That's a privilege. Appreciate it. I want to thank y'all for tapping in. I see y'all in a few days. I'm gonna take a couple of days off. It's been real. See you in a couple of days. You can still you're gonna get the clips tomorrow morning. Get the clips. Get them throughout the day. I got a whole lot of clips that I'm just gonna unload to the internet. I want to thank you for tapping in. You already know I need you to go to www.theintervention.com. Watch those old videos. Watch the rest of that John Horse. Enhance yourself. Watch that Black History stuff. Watch my stuff too. But watch that Black History stuff. I got a lot of traffic in the last few days. I got 10 subscriptions between last time I logged off and right now. I appreciate you. And if you ever just feel like saying, you know what, old boy doing an okay job, cash out me that. There you go. The end of the bench. THAENDOFDABENCH. Send me a couple of coins. 50-cent work, but $50 work a whole lot better. With that being said, thank you for tapping in. This is your man, Brian HRap B. Williams. I appreciate you. 2 fingers. 1 word. See you Monday.
And it is necessary for those people who rule over us and who rule over African people the world over, if those people are to stay in power, they must destroy our ability to love each other in a healthy sort of way. This is why